Today's class, we are going to see machine learning in signal processing with MATLAB. So past 1.5 day session, you would have learned about some basics of signals and also hands-on training in machine learning with MATLAB. So first, I'll start with what are signals, just a few glimpses of a signal, and then we'll go to signal processing, and then we'll see the difference of signal processing and machine learning, why machine learning for signal processing is important, and then we'll move on to machine learning techniques, and then we'll have a hands-on session with a human activity using MATLAB. So this is how my flow will be. So generally, what are signals? Signal is a function or a measurement that convey some information. So we can record a speech signal by using a microphone. So if you see this particular signal, which is a speech signal, which is recorded from the microphone, which is again a function of time. So if you record your voice signal using a microphone, for example, in our smartphones itself, we have recording option through the microphone. If we record your voice and if we take that signal, it will look like this. And then coming to this, it is an image signal. Here, that image, here the signal which you see is a communication signal, which is a frequency shift keying signal where the message...
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
Can you please hide that Meet link which is in the down PPT? Stop sharing, hide option is there. Thank you.
What, ma'am? Hide option. So take a message signal, that is a digital signal, which is ones or zeros, and a carrier signal. If you have logic 1, the frequency is increased. If you have logic 0, the frequency is decreased. So frequency shift keying signal looks like this. And coming to this signal, it is nothing but a text signal. So whatever text messages we are communicating with each other is a text signal sample. And coming to this, it is nothing but a power signal. Power signal, you have 3 phases of power signal. So a green, a blue, and a red color signal. This is an indication of a power signal. If we measure the power signal, it will be looking like this. And coming to this signal, it is nothing but a EEG signal, which is a brain signal. So you all know, for any activity, what we think and we do, a signal is generated. That is nothing but a EEG signal. So these are some samples of signals. Then coming to what is signal processing. So if you see in this portion of our hand, we'll feel the pulse. So from the pulse, we can detect the heart rate. So those days they'll be detecting the heart rate. Nowadays also some doctors detect some diseases by using this kind of pulse. By seeing our pulse itself, they'll tell any diseases is there or not. And coming to this signal, it is purely tuning signal, wherever we'll be using in audio stations, TV stations, etc. And this is our voice signal. And this is, best example is also our Google, where it processes the text signal. So nowadays you have audio option also. If you tell voice is converted into text and it is giving the Google search options. So that is also a kind of signal processing. And the last is nothing but image processing. So it can be used as an image. So speech recognition with linguistic rules and image segmentations, speech recognition, that is if you given with an audio, what kind of phonemes it is used, what kind of vowels it is used can be found using this speech recognition technique. So that is what this picture predicts. What phonemes it is used, what vowels, A, E, I, O, U, we all know what kind of vowel. For example, this shows A and this shows O and this shows U, like that. Vowels can also be visualized by using signals. That is, a spectrum of audio can be identified by this vowels. So by the word, by pronouncing this A, E, I, O, U, the spectrum of audio can be visualized by using speech recognition technique. Coming to the image segmentation and recognition algorithm, by using this, if you see this picture, it has a reverse, sea, sky, tree, which can be segmented and separated by using image segmentation and recognition algorithms. There are many algorithms which is used for image recognition and segmentations. And then coming here, it is a machine translation of text. That is, for example, if you type in Google, if you want anything in Tamil, nowadays we are struggling to write in Tamil, we'll be texting or giving the paragraph in English, that will again convert into Tamil, and also vice versa. Like that, French to English, English to French, whatever it can be done by using this machine translation of text. That is, by using all made by the handmade rules. These things are done using handmade rules. What is the key factor where machine learning plays a major role here? Since these set of handmade rules are written for this signal processing, so if you train our machine, automatically these tasks will become easy for us. So that is why we are concentrating nowadays on machine learning with signal processing. Coming to what is machine learning? So machine learning, it's an algorithm to make a computer to do a specific task. We'll be discussing about signal processing and machine learning separately. What is the difference? What is how it is categorized in the due course. So now you will know algorithm to make a computer to do specific task. That is, without any handmade explicit rule. It only learns from the data. That is, we'll be training the machine to do a specific task. For example, you can take a classification. You have in a basket, you have an apple, orange, banana, grapes, etc. If you need to classify, you have to train the model automatically by using machine learning algorithm. Apples, once you show it, once from the image itself, it will tell whether it is an apple, orange, or a banana. So learning from the data. So here we need n number of data to be given as for training the machine learning algorithm. So with that, we'll be getting the outputs. So machine learning is a category of an algorithm that allows a software application to become more accurate in predicting outcome without being explicitly programmed. So it predicts the outcome. So that is what it is, a category of algorithm that allows the software application to be more accurate. So sometimes it is not necessarily always the machine will detect apple as an apple. Sometimes it will detect the apple as an orange, apple as a banana. So only accurate prediction can be done. While giving more training data set, this accuracy will be able to achieve. So what is accuracy? What is precision? Everything we'll be seeing in the forthcoming slides. More accurate in predicting outcome without being explicitly programmed. So generally, in a machine learning algorithm, you have a X, which is a input data, F, which is a model, and Y is an output. you take a man sitting in a wheelchair, and wheelchair will automatically react to whatever the instruction which is given by the man by using our EEG signal. If our brain says go straight, the wheelchair automatically will move straight. If it says turn right, the wheelchair automatically turns right. If it says turn left, it will turn left. And if the EEG signal says stops, it will stop. So in this model, we'll be giving commands, that is straight, right, left, and stop. And our input is nothing but a EEG signal. Based on the EEG signal, the model is trained for example, 4 commands. You take going straight, taking right, taking left, and stopping. And then the output can be classified based on the input. And another example also I can say here, for example, we are getting many emails nowadays. Some mails are automatically going into spam folder. So whether which mails are to stored in the spam and which are not to stored in the spam folder. So that can also be predicted using this kind of machine learning algorithms. So how does these things happen? These things happen by using 2 things. One is training the data, another one is testing the data. And we will model for testing our data. First, we'll be training our algorithm model, and then for any kind of input, it should predict the output. For example, you take a pen, a shape of a pen. You can take 10 pens also. 10 to 100 pens input, you have to train your model. And if you give any pen as an input, automatically it should say it is a pen, and it should not say it is a rubber eraser. So that is what a training data and a testing data. That is a difference between a training data and a testing data. So I know most of you have heard about this.
Alexa, play relaxing songs. Playing relaxing songs from Amazon Prime Music.
Not this early morning.
Alexa, play pop songs. Playing pop songs from Amazon Prime Music.
Alexa, what's on my calendar?
Ankit's football match is at 4 p.m.
Okay, guys, breakfast at 10. Alexa, what's the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Alexa, play the latest TED Talk.
Here's the latest TED Talk.
Alexa, play some Bollywood music.
Yeah. Playing Bollywood songs from Amazon Prime Music.
Alexa, when was the Battle of Panipat?
The first battle of Panipat was fought in 1526.
Told you.
I got for tails.
Alexa, heads or tails?
I flipped a coin and got heads.
Yes.
Oh.
Let's go, we're getting late.
Alexa, turn on the lights. Turning on the lights. Reminder, Ankit, do your homework.
Doing my homework.
Alexa, dim the lights.
Dimming the lights. Alexa, turn off the lights. Turning off the lights. There is feedback.
I hope so.
Amazon Echo Plus, available now.
Yes, by watching this video, you can see the power of machine learning algorithm.
Yes, madam. Ma'am, are you there?
So coming to this picture, if you give a voice speech signal,
I'm sorry to interrupt. It's echoing.
whether it is echoing,
Yes, yes. If you are connected with two devices, you switch off the speaker of one device, madam.
not connected with two device.
You speak now?
Hello?
Yes, madam, you speak.
Whether it is echoing? Hello? I think I'll close this video. Now it is echoing.
Yes, for me, it is echoing. Now you speak, ma'am?
Hello?
Now it is not. Participants,
Hello?
participants can answer if you feel the same. Do you feel echoing?
Whether it is still echoing?
Yes, ma'am. It is echoing.
Hello?
You just speak on.
Hello?
And now it is not, I think. You continue, ma'am, please.
So if you're giving your audio signal as an input to a model, it should recognize what the signal says. If it tells open the door, play the music, do the homework, or sit and chat. So whatever things it is telling, this model is trained to do the task. As I already told, by seeing this EEG controlled wheelchair, the man's EEG signal, it detects and accordingly it acts. It moves forward, it goes straight, it goes right, and it goes left. Coming to this, that is IBM Watson Health Cloud, here the patients will store what are the problems they are having, and the doctors correspondingly stores all the solutions. Whether still echoing is there, madam? Hello? I think you mute your mic.
You know.
Still echoing?
Sorry, ma'am.
So the patients will be uploading their issues in the cloud, and some of the few solutions doctors will also give. And this machine learning algorithm is trained to give a perfect solution to a perfect problem. And coming to this video surveillance, that model can predict, made more accurate for a person to give a solution. Coming to the video surveillance, cameras on street will analyze the video, whether they are going in proper track, whether they are going in a correct speed, everything can be predicted by using this machine learning models. So as I told, for any machine learning algorithm, we will be having a training data, a set of training data that is given to a training algorithm that is fed to the model. With the user's feedback also, the training algorithm is modified and fed to the model. And based on that, it will be tested. This is your input and this is your output. So here, do you think most of us have a question that when machine learning algorithms, AI are implemented, the human intervention is very less. Do you think there is no need for humans here? No, it is not true. A team of engineers, scientists is required for learning algorithms for handmade rules. So machine learning is not solved the problem, just it is a black box. Many more researchers are going on this. So for all these things, we need a team of engineers to play a major role in this machine learning. So I already told what is machine learning. This learning from the data, yes, the feature engineer helps when the small data. A lot of hand tuning of learning algorithm is needed. Data and computation cost is also more. It is just a black box where many more problems for research are open. Excuse me. Signal processing is opaque to the task humans are interested in. Usually, signal processing, why they are telling this sentence, signal processing is opaque to the task humans are interested in means, in Alexa, translation of text wants to extract vowels from the speech. Here, the signal by using signal processing, we can know what is the frequency and what is the spectrum of the vowels and what the vowels tell. If you take an image, we will be concentrating on RGB values by knowing what is the object is. But when you are going with the machine learning, is opaque to the structure of the signal. It does not say how the frequency is, how the spectrum is, what is the RGB value. It is not bothered about that. It will not give the best performance. With less data, more structure, more algorithm, it will give what we need. If we give a signal, whether it will tell it is a vowel, what vowel it is, whether it is A, E, I, O, U, that's all. That is what machine learning will do. We can't expect what are the things done in signal processing will be done using machine learning. So machine learning is for doing a specific task. But here we can analyze the spectrum, we can know what is the frequency of the voice signal, what is the frequency of the vowel signal. Everything can be known by using signal processing techniques. As I told already, we'll see what is the difference between signal processing and machine learning. Here, it studies a variety of phenomena, that is, it deals with the analysis, whether it is a male voice, female voice, whether it is music or a speech. Lot of analysis can be done in signal processing. But in machine learning, a model is specific to a particular problem. It does not test all the classification. It performs only a particular problem. That's all. It will perform only a particular task with which it is trained for. It relies on less data. With a less data itself, we can extract more information from the signal processing. That is, ideal speech model will perform nicely for running speech. It is difficult. For ideal speech, signal processing is okay. First, we'll be recording the speech. After that, we'll be analyzing what is the frequency, what is the spectrum, etc. But for a running speech like Alexa, we are giving running commands and it acts accordingly. That is difficult in signal processing. It processes the running speech. It provides explanation so easy to debug and correct. Here it is mostly opaque to explanation and it is difficult to debug. That is, we have to choose a best algorithm for this. Coming to signal processing, it is less accurate for the task in the wild, high accuracy for task in the wild. Needs a lot of manual effort by experts. Here needs less manual efforts by experts. Large number of manually tunable parameters are required. Small number of manually tunable parameters are required because we are already training the, once it is trained, manual intervention is less. Before going into machine learning for signal processing in detail, you have to know some signal representations. So usually, I think you all heard about the word called as tensors. Tensors is nothing but a mathematical data. It is a scalar. That is what? 0th order scalar, first order tensors, second order tensors, and third order tensors. It is a mathematical data. It is used for mainly signal representation. So if it is 0th order tensor, it is represented as scalar. So a temperature, time, frequency, amplitude, phase, these are all are scalars. If we go with first order tensors, it is a vector, that is a set of times, frequency, phases, amplitudes can be represented by first order tensors. So for example, T1, T2, function F1, F2, an amplitude A1, A2, all these things can be represented by using a vector. Coming to the second order tensor, it is a matrix form where X, it is a grayscale image which is represented as M, N, and spectrogram we will be representing it as F, T. So this example given here, it is an example of a second order matrix. Coming to third order tensor, it is nothing but a video. Here you have frames. Each the videos are splitted into frames. So the collection of these matrix form a video. So it gives RGB images. So that is what for each images it is represented using a matrix. So a combination of all these forms a video. So this is how the signal representations are done. That is 0th order, first order, second order, and third order. Coming to the few audio signals, Edison invented gramophone, recording and playing back of sounds. So we all know Edison. He first invented a machine which records and play back the sound. Again, this is a voice signal. For example, you hello. Hello, it first records and then again it plays back. Here, again, this audio signal is related with 5 sense spaces. That is, it is taste space, sound space, visual space, sense space, and touch space. Sound space means you can differentiate by using, for example, you can differentiate a flute sound and a violin sound. You can differentiate English versus Punjabi. You can differentiate sa versus ra. So like that, all our 5 senses are used for this audio signals. Space visualization, that is signal processing. Visual spaces are by looking into that images. We can say whether it is red versus green, marigold versus jasmine, etc. By sensing sandal versus saffron, milk versus coffee. So these things we can identify by using smell, sense. So that is called as sense space. By touching space, whether you can tell it is a cotton or a brick, whether it is hot or a cold, all these spaces are highly related with this audio signals. By playing, we can tell whether it is a voice of two different human. So here comes the sound space. Sound makes the membrane vibrate. How it is recorded? When our audio signal we are talking, it is recorded by vibration of a membrane, and how to store the signal, and it is converted into electrical form that converts physical motion into electrical signal. Which converts the physical motion into electrical signal? Which device we use usually to convert a physical motion into an electrical signal? Anyone? I think after a good lunch, nobody is ready to answer. Okay, I myself tell the answer. Mainly, transducers are used to convert physical motion into an electrical signal. Nowadays, we are using only digital signals. Again, that digital signals are, these electrical signals are converted into digital signals by using analog to digital converters. So this is one of the example where sound in is converted into a signal out. So based on the sound which it is produced, it is a permanent magnet. Depending on the coil of wire with a magnetic field, automatically the signal, if you plot the signal, based on this audio signal, the signal output is generated. Again, here also you have two capacitor plates. Depending on the space of the capacitor, that is a condenser, again your signal output is realized. So depending on the sound, it gives an output signal. This is all older physics. We get a continuously varying signal. How to save it in a computer? How to save a for example, if we are speaking for continuously for a long time, how to save this data in a computer? By using sample and quantization technique. So you take any signal. For example, for this signal, we have to take minimum 10 samples. We are taking samples, and then we are converting those samples and applying quantization, and then we are getting discrete signals. Human can hear in the range of 200 Hertz to 20 kilohertz. Popular sampling rate, if you see how to determine the sampling rate of any signal, that is 2 times FM. So human hearing capability is only 20 Hertz to 20 kilohertz. So your sampling rate will be 2 times your FM. Mostly popular sampling rate is 44.1 kilohertz. That is for CD recording. So that is why for CD recording, the Sony company is mostly using this particular sampling rate. Converting this X to a digital number, that is done by a quantization process. Sampling process, it converts a continuous time signal into a discrete time signal. Again, discrete time signal is converted into a digital signal by using quantization. Again, while quantization is coming into role, we will be concentrating on number of bits. That is, you need 16 bits per sample for CD recording. So we already saw an example with the CD recording. So we need 16 bits per samples for CD recording. Finally, the audio is converted into a stream of numbers. That is, represent it as a vector of shape n,1, where n is the number of samples. After that, we can process that data. So this is how an audio signal is converted into a stream of numbers, that is digital signal. by using a transducer, by using an analog and digital converter. Inside your analog and digital converter, you have a sampler and a quantizer. Sampler converts a continuous time signal into a discrete time signal. That discrete time signal is converted into a digital signal by using a quantization process. After that, it is represented as number of samples. Coming to the pitch, again, pitch is also one of the articulate of attribute of the sound. That is a perceptual attribute of a sound, musical notes. If you have two different frequencies very close to each other, by using this pitch, we can differentiate these two are different signals. That is why pitch is used. That is where pitch is used. Another one attribute of this sound signal is loudness. That is quite too loud. When you are keeping quiet, your frequency will be less. When you are louder, your frequency will be high. So depending on that, this is an example taken from Wikipedia, where it represents a signal with quiet and loudness. That is correlated with a pressure level, which is non-linear, varies with pitch. Depending on the pitch, the loudness also varies. So these are the some of the attributes related with audio signals. Loudness and pitch, if you see in this picture, if we operate in this range, that is 100 Hertz, there will not be any pain or this. If it is more than 100 Hertz, automatically we will be feeling the pain. Most of us nowadays are using headphones, right? 2 ears. We can localize the sound, source of the sound by using time difference. For example, a person is standing towards your right and talking. First, the signal will reach to your right ear, and then with a few time difference only, it will reach your left ear. So, interoral time difference, intensity difference, and filtering by the body. So our body automatically filters it out and it recognizes what they are talking. So in microphone arrays for sound localization and separation, again Alexa is used as an example, and 3D sound effects is also another example. So this is how an audio signals are represented. This is in time domain, and its spectrum is looking like this. Audio representation using phonemes. You please listen to this so that you can understand what I'm telling. Whether it is audible?
Harry. Harry.
So first voice tell, it is hurry.
Harry.
Hurry. That is another spectrum which is represented like this.
Hara.
Hara.
Hare.
Hare. So these are phonemes. Hari, Hari, Hara, Hare. So if you see here in this pictures, if the spectrum yellow line is more, means the voice signal is predicted correctly, and this black line indicates it is wrongly detected. So this is the spectrum of these audio representations. Coming to the vowels also, A, E, I, O, U. So for this particular voice, this is the vowel wave.
A, E, O.
A, E, A, O. So for that vowel, the spectrum look like this. So this is an audio representation of vowels. Coming to the visual perception, we all know that RGB images. So this is the original image. If you take only red, green and blue separately from this, that image will be looking like this. And your green and red are more brighter compared to, blue and red are more brighter compared to this green signal. So this is how we have to know about audio and visual perceptions, etc. for training our model. So eyes are sensitive to changes, that is, it sees the edges, corners, bobs, etc. and how to detect them in images. By using images, how we are using correlation and filtering operation, that is FAR filter, IR filter, digital filters, and then transformations. So convolution, what is convolution means? It is a mathematical operation on two functions that produces a third function expressing how the shape of one is modified by the other. So that is what the convolution process is used. Correlation, it is nothing but a measure of similarity of series and its time shifted series as a function of displacement. Cross correlation is a measure of similarity of two different series as a function of displacement. So by using this operation, we can tell whether two signals are different signals or two signals are same signals. As I told, an example of a person speaking sitting to your right ears will hear it quickly compared to your left ear, but it is the same signal, but it is a time shifted version. So that is, it should, our human should not think this is right side, it is one signal, left side here is one signal. It should not detect like that. It is a same signal. So that is what. So it is a measure of similarity of series as a function of displacement. So cross correlation with zero padding. So these things, all basics of signals and systems and digital signal processing. We process signals by using, we'll perform convolution operation, correlation operation, and we'll take two different signals, we'll apply correlation and find the output of a signal, etc. So coming to a periodic signal, a best example for a periodic signal is a sinusoidal signal. Very well behaved, continuous and differentiable. It has three parameters, usually amplitude, frequency and phase. Why we need a transformation here? Transform, that is Fourier transform. Mainly Fourier transform is used for continuous time signals and periodic signals. And X of k is discrete and aperiodic. So continuous time signal, we'll be using continuous time Fourier transform. For discrete time signal, we'll be using discrete time Fourier transform. There are many types of transforms. Why we need to analyze a signal in time domain and a frequency domain? For converting a signal from a time domain to frequency domain, we need Fourier transforms. So what is the purpose why we are doing so? while we are processing the signals in time domain, only certain informations about the signal can be gathered. If you need more information about the signal, we can convert that into that signal into time domain, and then there we can extract the hidden informations. For that we need transforms. It is one of the need of the transform. So we use Fourier transform. That is what? Continuous time Fourier transform, discrete time Fourier transform, and discrete time Fourier transforms are given as formulas. So this is a spectrum of discrete Fourier transform for a sine signal, that is 2 pi 4 pi divided by 32n. So here its sample, that is magnitude response and phase response is shown. Here again for this particular signal, a magnitude response and phase response is shown while after applying discrete Fourier transform. So these things are basics of signals and signal processing. Now we'll go to machine learning model. So machine learning algorithm are just theoretical concepts that describes what to do in order to achieve a specific effect. So model is a mathematical formula which is a result of machine learning algorithm. So here, as I told already, we'll be having an input and an output. Output is nothing but a predicted value, and model. For that model, we'll be training, that is type and parameter value of mathematical functions is used to train the model. There are 3 types of machine learning algorithm. I hope in all the 3 sessions you would have come across these things: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So types of machine learning algorithm: supervised learning is nothing but task driven. It is classification bar regression. Unsupervised learning, it is a data driven. We'll be using clustering operation. And reinforced learning is nothing but learning from mistakes. That is, after training, what are the mistakes it is done? With that, again the model will be trained. So that is what? Learning from mistakes by playing games. So here, this is a pictorial representation for supervised learning, reinforcement learning, and unsupervised learning. Without any supervision, automatically it does its jobs. That is data driven. So these are the few algorithms and systems where we used this machine learning. Classification and regression. Classification will be detecting fraud detection, image classification, customer retention, diagnosis. There are machine learning algorithms can be used in n number of applications. Regression, forecasting, prediction, process optimization, new insights, etc. Reinforcement learning, robot navigation, skill acquisition, learning tasks, game AI, real-time decisions. And unsupervised learning, we have clustering and dimensionally reduction. In clustering, customer segmentation, targeted marketing, and recommended systems. And dimensionally reduction, big data visualization, meaningful comparison, structure discovery, and feature adaptation. So coming to supervised learning algorithm, an AI system is presented with a data which is labeled, which means that each data tagged with a correct label. It requires a data set which consists of an example input and an output pair. Each pair consists of a data sample used to make predictions and expected outcome called a label. So y is equal to f of x. So the goal is to approximate the mapping function so well that when you have a new input data, that you can predict the output variable for that data. As I already told, we'll be training the model, we'll be giving an input, and it should predict that apple example I told, no, apple, orange, grapes, banana. If you give an apple, it should predict it is an apple. So this is the supervised learning model. I already told about this SWAM folder and not to a spam folder. Machine learning algorithms will categorize whenever a new mail is arriving, it should categorize whether to put in a spam folder or not in a spam folder. So types of supervised learning, classification and regression. Classification is a process of assigning a category to an input data sample. So for example, if you train your model, you have a rose, you have a lotus, you have a jasmine. It should tell it is a rose, it is a jasmine, and it is a lotus. It should not say when your input is rose, it should not say it is jasmine. So it should classify accurately. So predicting whether a person is ill or not. So for example, you have 100 people, 10 people are suffering from fever. Your model should predict that 10 people suffering from fever, they are ill. It should not say 90 people are suffering from fever. So that kind of cases should not happen. And detecting fraud transactions, face classifiers, etc. Regression is nothing but a process of predicting a continuous numerical value for an input data sample. That means, for example, assessing a house price. You can predict this price will be, before building or constructing a house, you can say this will be the price of this house. It can be either more than that or less than that. So it can be just predicted. Forecasting the grocery store food demand and temperature forecasting. So these are some of the examples of regression. Common supervised learning algorithms are linear regression, nearest neighbor algorithm, Navy Bayes algorithm, decision tree algorithm, random forest algorithm, support vector machine algorithm, and neural network. So today we'll be seeing support vector machine algorithm, a sample code using MATLAB. Unsupervised learning algorithm, a group of algorithms that try to draw inferences from the non-labeled data, that is without reference to known or labeled outcome. It is just a black box. So in unsupervised learning, an AI system is presented with an unlabeled, uncategorized data. The system algorithms act as a data without the prior training. So the output is depend upon the coded algorithm, and hence there are no correct answers for this. So for example, if you give this different dolls as a input to the unsupervised learning, it will be classifying a Mickey Mouse and a rat, and then all the other three into another classification. So maybe depending on the height or depending on the position, it may classify. Position of a leg, it may classify. So if you have a training data set which consists of all kinds of model, if you feed to a model, again, its pattern, it should be like this. It should classify properly. Clustering, that is type of unsupervised learning, is nothing but clustering and reducing data dimensionality. Clustering, it is a process of dividing and grouping similar data sampled together. Groups are usually called as clusters. That is what in the previous example, say similar data, circles are clustered together, triangles are clustered together, hexagons are clustered together. Segmentation of supermarkets, use base segmentation, signal denoising. Reducing data dimensionality. Dimensionality reduction is a process of compressing feature into so-called principal values which convey similar information concisely. Speed up other machine learning algorithm by reducing the number of calculations, finding a group of most reliable feature in data. Association. An association rule learning problem is where you want to discover the rule that describes a large portion of your data, such as people that buy X also tend to buy Y. These are the common unsupervised learning algorithms: K-means algorithm, principal component analysis, and association rules. Reinforcement learning, a branch of machine learning algorithm which produces so-called agent. So agent role is slightly different from the classical model. Here, the agent first, he has to do the task properly. If he is not doing the task properly, he will receive penalties. If he is doing the task properly, he will receive rewards. That is what they are explaining here. That is, it's to receive information from the environment and to react it accordingly. An agent learns by interacting with its environment. The agent receives rewards by performing correctly, and it receives penalty for performing incorrectly. So the agent learns without interventions from a human by maximizing its reward and minimizing its penalty. So this is what, and from the environment, if it does its task correctly, rewards will be there, or else penalties will be received. You take a condition like this. This is an environment. This is an agent. Actually, what this agent should do, it should take the water and it should try to off the fire. But what it is doing, observe, select an action using policy. Action, it goes near to the fire. So automatically it gets penalty of -50 points. Again, next time to avoid it, update the policy, learning step, iterate until an optimal policy is found. So this is what, that is learning from the mistake. That is what reinforcement algorithm. Some of the common RL algorithms are Q-learning, temporal difference, deep adversarial networks. So coming to the machine learning concepts, that is accuracy, precision, recall, etc. So here I'm going to consider 3 examples of a rose, lotus, and a jasmine. Here, the feature extraction from this is, we are taking only 2 features. One is height, that is x1. Another one is diameter, x2. Consider a scenario like this, x1 and x2. You take this as roses and this as lotus. How to plot this particular graph is, first we'll be plotting this graph by using certain values, that is based on the height and the width. For example, x1 is the height and x2 is the width. So if your rows have an height of 3 mm and a width of 1 mm, it will be plotted here. Again, a height of 2 and a width of 1.5, it will be plotted here. Like that, this is, sorry, you take this as lotus and this as rose, because lotus will be generally height compared to roses. So we are plotting like this. Now you have to predict one thing, what it is, whether it is a lotus, whether it is a lotus or whether it is a rose. How to do this? This prediction can be done by using hard classification method or soft classification method. Hard classification method means simply by looking into this, you can predict the nearest neighbor by using this distance calculation. In mathematics, we'll be using Euclidean distance calculation. By using that formula, we can calculate the distance for finding the nearest neighbor. According to the nearest neighbor, you can classify this as a lotus. But your prediction can also be wrong. That is, so if you see this line, above this line are lotus, below this line are roses, based on the prediction. So here, for a line, we'll be having an equation, that is x2 minus m into x1 minus c is equal to 0. If this value is less than 0, then it is roses. If this value is greater than 0, then it is lotus. Here, for this particular value, you should choose your slope. M indicates slope and M is slope and C is intercept. Here, for this particular model, M value is taken as positive and C is taken as negative. Coming to hard and soft classification, what I told already, depending on the distance, that is nearest neighbor, if you are classifying this black box as a lotus, other than the black box, if you are classifying it as a lotus, then it is called as hard classification. When comes the soft classification means by using probability. If you are telling that probability of this black box being lotus is 0.6 because it is nearer to this line, and probability of being a rose is 0.4. That kind of classification is called as soft classification. So depending on the probability value, if we are classifying, then it is called as soft classification. Just by using the nearest neighbor algorithm, then it is called as hard classification. Here comes the probability value. If you see the value H is equal to x2 minus m into x1 minus c. Probability of this black box is equal to lotus, which is given by 1 by 1 plus exp of minus h. Different values of h and its probability. If you assume h as 0, the probability value will be 1 divided by e power 0 is automatically 1. So the value is 1 by 2, which is equal to 0.5. This says uncertain. Your answer will be uncertain. If you assume a value of h is around 100, then 1 plus e power minus of a greater value will always be approximately equal to 0. So then the probability is 1. Then your prediction is sure. You are telling it is definitely a lotus. If it is minus 100 means 1 by, again minus of minus, it will be plus. E power and higher value will be definitely an higher value. 1 divided by an higher value will be equal to 0. So definitely you can say it is not a lotus. So it is a rose. So depending on the H values, you can find whether it is a lotus or not a lotus. So any doubts in this soft classification? So if you have a line like this, here 80% of your predicted value is correct and 20% it is wrong. For example, you consider in this case, you have 10 lotus and 10 roses. Out of this, above this line, you have 8 lotus and below this line, you have 2 lotus. That means this is called as wrong prediction and this is right prediction. Again, this is right prediction and this blue is wrong prediction. So this is called as fraud detection, that is fraudulent transaction. So if you switch that line towards downwards, then automatically the star is nothing but fraudulent transaction. And you can take, I told with the lotus and rose, here you can tell it as fraudulent transaction and genuine transaction. So the things below this line is genuine transaction. These are fraudulent transactions. So in general, machine learning needs two sets of data, training set and test set, which has an input and targets. Again, tested sets will have an input and unseen targets. So these are the data. Data are classified into two types, training set data and testing data. Here, usually this unseen targets is nothing but it is called as ground truth. It should compare the value with the actual value. It is actual value is called as ground truth. Now we'll see how we are going to evaluate this measures for calculation. That is, for example, you have you take two persons in the market. They are selling an algorithm, machine learning algorithm. How will you say algorithm is best compared to his algorithm? You take an example of Nitish algorithm and Sam algorithm. Both are selling an machine learning algorithm for a same task. For example, you consider a task as there are 1,000 people in a city, out of which 990 people are not affected by the disease, and only 10% of the people are affected by the disease. But this is Nitish algorithm. Sam algorithm says always nobody is affected by the disease. Now, how will you, which algorithm, which machine learning algorithm you will classify it is best? How will you say it is best classification? Because actually the SAM algorithm is not doing nothing. If you give any input, it will say no disease, no disease, no disease. Always it will say no disease. But Nitish algorithm only works better. So how will you measure those things? By using some evaluation measures. So that is why we are going to see what are the evaluation measures of classifications. For evaluating your measure, for evaluating we need accuracy, prediction and we'll be measuring prediction value, accuracy value and recall value. Based on these value, you can tell whether your machine learning algorithm is best or better. So to quantify which model is better, we go for accuracy, prediction and recall. So these are the three important values we need to calculate. How we are going to calculate that? So here comes the confusion matrix. Confusion matrix is nothing but it is used to have a more complete picture of a model. That is, in your confusion matrix, while comparing, that is what we'll go to an example which already we discussed, that is rose, lotus and jasmine. If a rose is detected as rose, then actually it is a rose and your prediction is also rose, then it is true. So the actual value, you are comparing your predicted value with your actual value. That actual value is taken as ground truth. So by using that, we'll be calculating the confusion matrix. How we are going to calculate the confusion matrix, we'll see later. So this is what lotus and rose. You have a line. With that prediction line, 80% of things are predicted correctly, 20% are predicted wrongly. So your accuracy is 80%. So you have a value here. This is actual. Actual is also called as ground truth. This is your predicted value. If it is negative, the predicted value is also negative, then it is called as true negative. Actually, it is positive, but it is predicted as negative, then it is called as false negative. If your actual it is negative, your prediction says it is positive, then it is false positive. If your actual is positive, predicted is also positive, then it is true positive. I'll explain with an example here. That is what a person is sick. Sick means negative. A person is healthy means positive. If a sick person, actually a person is sick, but your predictor says he is sick, then it is called as true negative. True negative means, yes, it has predicted correctly that he is sick. If he is healthy, if a person is healthy, actually he is healthy, but your predictor says he is sick, then it is called as false negative. It should not say like that. It is false negative. Actually, he is ill, but your predictor says he is healthy, then it is called as false positive. Actually, he is healthy and your predictor also says he is healthy, then it is called as true positive. These two are not dangerous, but these two predictions are dangerous. Depending on these two predictions only, your accuracy of a model, prediction of a model, and a recall of a model can be identified. So main metrics, the following metrics are often used to measure the performance of a class. Accuracy is nothing but overall performance of a model. Precision is nothing but accuracy of a positive prediction. Recall is nothing but coverage of actual positive sample. F1 is a hybrid metric useful for unbalanced cases. So this is what we are going to see now. What is mean by accuracy? Accuracy means correctly predicted data by total number of data. Total number of samples. Total number of samples. Out of total samples, if you correctly predict the number of samples, then it is called as accuracy. That is true positive plus true negative. As I already told, in confusion matrix, you have true positive and true negative. These two cases we are taking. That 2 divided by all the 4. That is called as accuracy. So by looking into this picture, we can easily say this is lotus and this is roses. 80% it is predicted accurately, 20% it is predicted wrongly. Coming to an example, here itself we can have a confusion matrix for a rose, lotus and jasmine, and we can calculate the so here you have 3 things. So this is your predicted value and this is your actual value. Take this as rose, lotus, jasmine, rose, lotus, jasmine. Here you take the table, ground truth. Ground truth is nothing but actual value. Prediction. If it is your model, if it is a rose, if it is predicting as a rose, then you will add 1. If it is a rose, if it predicts jasmine, here you will add 1. If it is like that, if it is a lotus, if it predicts R, here you will add 1. So like this, we'll be taking 100 test samples, I'll write the confusion matrix. For example, you take 20, 40, 40. That means 20 roses, it predicts 20 roses correctly. That is, value is 20. If the actual is roses, but 40 times it predicts yes. Actual value is rose, 40 times it predicts as a jasmine. So that is wrong predictions. 15, 80, 5, 20, 30, 50. If it is a lotus, 80 times it predicts it is a lotus. Only 15 times it wrongly predicts as a rose. Only 5 times it wrongly predicts as a jasmine. So here the accuracy is more. Again, if it is a jasmine, it predicts jasmine only 50 times. All other times it predicts wrongly. So here accuracy value is 150 divided by 300. So if you add this diagonally 20, 80, 50, you will be getting 150. That is what true positive and true negative. That divided by total number of test samples are 300. So then your accuracy is equal to only 1 by 2, which is 50%. If a model is like that, it is not acceptable. So in order to improve the accuracy, we can have a model like this. If your classification model classifies rows as rows, so some changes can also be made. Always your accuracy should be more. Then only you can defend that your model is more accurate. Rose, lotus, jasmine, 20, 60, 20. Just I have changed the rose values. 80, 5, 20, 30, 50. So in this case, mostly rose and lotus are confused most of the time. So that you can change your prediction model. So you can give more number of training data set so that this thing does not happen. You can see, you can look into that, this thing does not happen. So in this example, if you see, that is what I already told. In a city, 1,000 people are there, out of which 990 people are healthy, only 10 people are sick. So your predictor, that is what I told, no, Nitish predictor and Sam's predictor, you will be measuring this predictor is efficient or not, again by using this confusion matrix only. Unhealthy, healthy, unhealthy, ground truth, prediction. So 960 people's healthy, 30 wrong predictions, 5 out of 10, 10 people's unhealthy, it is predicted that they are unhealthy. So this Nitish classifier will have an accuracy of 0.965. You take SAM classifier, I told whatever the input, he will always say they are healthy, healthy, healthy. Then the value of confusion matrix will be like this: 990, 10, 0, 0. So the accuracy will be 0.99, which is fake. This is what? Fault detection. So the measure is not a good measure. This type of measure is not a good measure. So this Nitish detector model detects out of 10 people who are sick, it detects 5 people are sick. Again, prediction 5 out of 35. Total is 35 and it predicts that 5 correct answers. This is called as prediction. Precision, this is called as recall. For this SAM, this is SAM's predictor. This is Nitish model. In SAM's model, if you calculate recall, it predicts 0% who's affected by illness out of 10, and his precision is 0 by 0. So here we can clearly say that Nitish model is best suited compared to SAM's model. So simply speaking, to know what is precision and recall, how many times correctly you are hitting the target, that is called as precision. Precision is how many times, number of times. If you say it is 25 times you are trying, out of which 5 times you are hitting, 15 times you are hitting correctly, then your precision will be 15 by 25. That is true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. Coming to recall, for example, you consider a mother is giving a shopping list to you. Go to a shop and buy these groceries, and you are leaving the list in the home itself, and after going to the shop, you are recalling. She has given 10 items to be purchased in the list. You remember that 10 items, but you are able to recall only 5 items which she said are correct. That is a best example for a recalling. Out of that number of illness people, you are predicting 5 people are affected by the disease, then it is called as recalling. Like that, when your mother's list is given, if you are able to recall 5 items and you are purchasing the 5 items correctly and 5 items wrongly, then it is called, your recall will be 5 divided by 10. So this is how we'll be evaluating whether your classification model is best or not. And whenever your fraud detection, when you can say it is fraud detection, when your recall value is high, you can tell it is fraud detection. That is not getting scolding by the mother. If you are recalling all the values, she has given 10 items in the list, and you are able to recall all the 10 items and you are getting the 10 items, then automatically your recall value will be high and you will not get scolding from your mother. That is called as fraud detection. Coming to F-score, this is a unified measure for capturing both prediction and recall. Here we can easily calculate the precision and recall. If your precision is high and your recall is high, automatically your F-score will also be high. That is, you take an example, F is equal to 1 is your precision, 1 is your recall, into 2 divided by 1 plus 1, which is equal to 1. When your precision is high, your recall is low, what happens to your F? Let us see. F is equal to 1 into 0.1 into 2 divided by 1 plus 0.1, which is equal to 0.2 divided by 1.1, which is equal to 0.18, which is obviously less. If your precision is less and recall value is high, automatically your F will also be low. You can try 1 into 1 into 2 divided by 1 plus 0.1, which is equal to 0.2 divided by 1.1, which is equal to again 1.8. If your predictor is low, your recall value is low, and your F is also low, what happens to your, how you are telling F is also low if both the values are low? F is equal to 0.1 into 0.1 into 2 divided by 0.1 plus 0.1, which is equal to 0.1. This value is low. So coming to the conclusion, always your F score will be closer to your smaller value. So these are the evaluation metrics used to tell whether your machine learning model is accurate or not. So these are some of the values by using accuracy, confusion matrix, precision, recall will be telling our model is best or not. So for any machine learning model, first you have to fix a goal. Fixing a goal means, what is your goal? That is, you take an example of that flowers, that is classifying of 3 flowers, rose, lotus, jasmine. Second thing is data collection. So you have to collect, while data collection, you have to collect the relevant data. That is, you have to collect only the data related to flowers. You should not collect data related to animals, birds, or etc. Then data should be variable. That is, you should not collect, you should concentrate on only Indian roses. You should not concentrate on British roses, France roses, American roses. You should concentrate your data more on Indian roses. And you should put least effort, which is desirable, while data collection. So these are the things you should concentrate on data collection. Next is data annotation and labeling. That is denoising, data denoising. It should be less noisy. Make conversions for a data labeling. Train the team of annotations, continuous annotation, monitor annotation quality. So these are some of the things in data annotation while we are doing. Then feature design and extraction. What are the features you're going to design and extract in a model? Then you have to choose a model. Model selection is very, very important, and training the model is also important. Then handling noise and outliers. Outliers is, it should not overfitting also, and it should be validated properly. And testing, it is another phase, that is performance on test data. If anything should be varied, you can vary it, and you should deploy in the market. And then you should see what is the error, what is an accuracy, everything when it is deployed. And then you can debug it, and model improvement can be done. That is, gather more data for training, and you can do the error analysis. So these are some of the steps we have to follow while modeling a machine learning algorithm. So give some example task where we need high precision, but recall can be somewhat compromised. Give some examples task where we need a high recall, but precision can be somewhat compromised. High recall is an example what I told in the grocery shop. Example of signal processing using machine learning. Signal processing model, that is, you can digital filtering, spectral analysis can be done using machine learning algorithm. Example, we can use classification model. So MATLAB, here we are going to see a hands-on training on a MATLAB by using SVM classification model. MATLAB environment enables language visualization, apps and documentations, flow from predictive algorithm to embed implementation, that is DSP system simulation, automatic code generation, everything can be used for predicting algorithms. So now we'll see a hands-on training on human activity. Anybody is there?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Whether what are the things which I told it was useful? So now we are going to see a human activity, that is initially we are going to use a data set for this 6 categories of activity. When a human is walking, when a human is climbing upstairs, when a human is climbing downstairs, when a human is sitting, when a human is standing, when a human is laying down. So these are the classification which we are going to do. And this is our data set. Nowadays, we have applications whenever we are laying down, walking, standing, going in upstairs, coming from the downstairs, everything, our signal can be generated by using our normal mobile phones. That feature is given to the model and feature extraction is done, and we are training our model, and it should say whether currently the person is walking or standing or sitting. That thing can be predicted by using that. It should say whether our what is the current position of a human. So a readily available code is available in MathWorks. So we'll have a demo on it. First, you can go with MATLAB Online. It will take 5 minutes. So we can give already, since I have already logged in, it is automatically going. Go to my account. You can go to a MATLAB drive folder where you can save your codes. So first, for this process, I initially downloaded the code, that is signal processing for human activity code. And first I uploaded the file in the MATLAB drive. By using this, first you have to create a new folder. Then it will ask for a name. You can give the name and you can create the folder. After that, you have to upload the file or a folder, whatever you want, you can directly upload it. In this MATLAB drive, it will be automatically saved. Next is, once you are saving your code in the drive, you can go for MATLAB Online. MATLAB Online trial versions are available. You can also try this. I will share this code for this human activity. So this is first you have to open the MATLAB Online and you have to go to the current folder, that is open the signal processing folder. in this, you will be having readme text. You have to open. So first, set the MATLAB current folder to the folder containing this readme file. Download and rearrange the dataset automatically following the steps in the script data preparation.m, and open the script demo main and execute the code one cell at a time using MATLAB editor. So first you have to go to the data. In this data, you have to open data preparation M file. Once it is opened, you should go to this data. That is what it is given as an instruction here. You should go to that directory and you have to create a folder called as original in this data. Either you can directly download the data set which is available for human activity. Here you can go to this, just you copy and you can download the code. So in this URL, your data set is available. I have, since it will take some time, I have already downloaded the data set and kept here as a RAR file. That is UCI HAR data set. So that is once downloaded, and you have to create a folder. Data kulla you have to create a folder that is original. After that, you have to run this data preparation. So you will be getting a window like this. In this, signal processing, data, original. Already I told, we have saved that data set in the drive. Just you open it. It will unzip and it is downloading the data set. Automatically your demo main, this is your main program that will be opened once you do this thing. So this code, first if you see, it shows the figure window for each and every activity. That is walking, laying, walking, standing. You can plot different figure windows for different activity. Walking upstairs. And then you can filter using high pass filter. Finally, you will be getting the, if you are concentrating on only the activity walking, you can use your filter command and you can fetch the data you want. So this is how, here if you see they are using SVM algorithm. So if you simply run this, it will say take some time. You can see this output, estimated standing, actually standing. So like that, for each and everything, estimation and estimated value and actual value are plotted. Sitting, estimated sitting, actually sitting. like that, laying, estimated laying, actually laying. Now it is for walking. So like this, for each section, you can run your code, this demo main.code. And finally, we can predict only walking. Whatever we want, we can change the code and we can run and see. Finally, you will get the confusion matrix. So if you see, here you have a high pass filter. For this, for giving input to the high pass filter, you have to go here and open this application where you have filter designing. And you can give the specification of your high pass filter so that it will filter only the human activity walking and give us an output. So it will take some time. So what is an advantage of using this SVM classification model is, instead of doing with thousands of iterations, here this model, one task can be done with 3 iterations. The accuracy is more in this particular model. And the difference between using Python and MATLAB, for Python, we don't know in backend what is happening. Just we'll be calling the libraries and we'll be running and we'll be doing it. But here we can change each and every set of values and we can see what is happening in MATLAB. That is the difference. Going with MATLAB, we can take these such codes and we can modify the algorithm according to our requirements and we can run and see.
Madam, now you are running for each of the sections, right?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
So like that you can run and see. If you want, I will share the code also. Because version to version, some few things should be changed. So this is neural network training model. So it will take some time while we are running each and every section. So this is your input, hidden model, and output. You'll be getting the output. So here you can visualize only sitting is separated. Like this, each and every activity will be separated and you can see. Clearly the instructions are given. Few lines only codes are there, mostly instructions are there. Here is the confusion matrix. So here what I told now, filter designing, you can give the specification. Here we are using high pass filter, which is IAR, and your FS is 50 Hertz, stop band is 0.4, pass band is 0.8. If you give design a filter, it will design. So this is how a high pass filter is designed, its magnitude response. If you want, you can go with a file manager and you can convert this window into a MATLAB code also. That can be easily done. So these options can be selected, what type of filter you want, whether it is Butterworth or Chebyshev, FAR filter, all options are available. IAR filters also, all options are available. Whatever option you want, you can choose and you can design your filter accordingly, so that your code will run based on your filter design. So since running out of time, I could explain only this much. So these are the references, mainly Vipul Arora, machine learning for signal processing course, EE698B, Department of Electrical Engineering, IIT Kanpur. All course materials are available, all PPTs and video. He explains clearly. Most of the concepts I have taken from this video only. He's explaining nicely. He's introducing the signal processing and then how it is using in machine learning. That is available in that course material. And books, pattern recognition and machine learning, deep learning, automatic speech recognition, and for image representations and filters, these are the websites. And human activity, if you go for this particular link, there is a code available and also a webinar is there regarding that. They are running the code and you can visualize it also. Any queries? Thank you.